Welcome to one of North America's finest new motorsports complexes, New Jersey Motorsports Park, the Thunderbolt Raceway, the site of round 3 of the Coney Sports Car Challenge, the Garden State 250. Hello everyone, I'm Brian Till, along with Chris Neville, Calvin Fish, and Lee Diffie. We'll bring all the action for you here today in round 3 of the Coney Sports Car Challenge. But before we get to round 3, let's look back to the very beginning, round 1 from Daytona.
Well, what an intense battle it was there that day. Ultimately, Bill Auberlen getting that victory alongside Matt Bell, his first pro victory for Turner Motorsports.
Head to round 2 at Homestead Miami Speedway, where Billy Johnson, Peter Ludwig took the victory for MTG. But that victory short-lived as it was taken away in tech. Look at the standings here, Cal.
Well, consistency, 2 podium finishes as Kenny Wilden on top, and just 6 points between the first 3 drivers. Gue and Seafus once again a threat in this championship.
Another very strong Mustang. You saw Jack Rouse and Hugh Plum looking back through. Bill Auberlen and Matt Bell, winners in the first round. They had a problem in the second, looking to work their way back. You've looked at points. You've looked at results. Let's talk about today. We'll head straight down to pit lane and Chris Neville.
Brian, you talk about those problems at round 2. Matt Bell put that all behind him in qualifying today, grabbing the pole in GS. And remember, Turner has that very potent arrow in their quiver. Bill Auberlen. And Bill, what is the key to the BMW speed at New Jersey?
Oh, it's all about momentum. This place, you keep it rolling, you never shut it down. BMW's great, 50-50 weight distribution, perfect handling. Turner Motorsports, get there on the website. I want Turner, they were about to carry this radiator called a PWR radiator. I heard Diffie can get us those. Ask him if we can get them.
We'll make sure we do that. And remember, guys, we got a lot of great cars in the top 10s. We got Mustangs, Porsches, and BMWs. It's going to be a great race.
Bill Auberlen is a talking catalog, without a doubt. We've looked at Grand Sport. Let's head to Street Tuner class. We'll go back to Daytona as well, Cal.
Well, Georgian Bay Motorsports starting the season where they finished it right on top. Oceanback getting his 3rd career victory. And what a job by Pat Iannucci. And his first pro debut, he gets the win.
Talking about another first-time winner, Christian Miller, teaming with Randy Popes at Homestead Miami Speedway in the ST class. They walk away with a victory. Look at the standings now.
4 drivers tied at the top. Aquilani's had 2 poles this year, no victories, and they'll start at the back of the pack today after qualifying on the front row, but a technical infraction puts him back in the pack.
Well, we heard from the driver up front in Grand Sport. Let's do the same for ST. We'll head down to pit lane and Lee Diffie.
Brian, it's all smiles here at Freedom Autosport because they've got the pole with 19-year-old Andrew Carbonell. However, there's nothing like a late-minute change to keep them on their toes. Rhett Odosky is the regular co-driver for Andrew, but up until last night, he wasn't here. He didn't have a co-driver. 7 o'clock this morning, it was confirmed that this man here, Guy Cosmo, was switching from his Daytona prototype in the Grand Am Rolex Sports Car Series to this. Have you ever driven one of these things? That's quite a change.
I have not driven one of these, but I have spent a lot of time in Coney Challenge, and I just have to thank the Freedom Autosport guys. They're a great team. I've known them for a long time. Andrew's a great buddy of mine. It's too bad Rhett couldn't be here, but I'm glad to fill in last minute.
And there's a nice story to this, Calvin and Brian, because Guy is Andrew Carbonell's mentor.
Lee Diffie looking very sharp in my jacket down there on pit lane. All right, Calvin, we've talked about the series. We've visited with the drivers. We've looked at points and all that. But when I look back just one round to Homestead Miami Speedway, the competition, the margin of victory in the Street Tuner class was 0.129 seconds. In the Grand Sport class, the margin of victory, 0.133 seconds. It's always close in Coney, but I think this year, more than any, it's been very competitive, the most competitive I've ever seen. We've only been through round 2.
I know, it's just spectacular this year. You cannot go away. You've got to stay and see the checkered flag come out because it keeps changing throughout the course of these events. It's literally inches that have separated first from second this year.
And we talk about Homestead Miami Speedway. It was separate races, but we've brought the 2 classes back together. It's going to be one whale of a time here, I think, at New Jersey Motorsports.
Well, they're going to have to show a lot of patience. There's a lot of difference in speed between the faster ST and the slower GS cars. So you're going to really have to display patience on this racetrack. It's very narrow. And as we take a look at the Subaru track map, you can see here that it's pretty narrow, 2¼ miles, 12 turns. It's going to keep you busy. But since last year, there has been a major change here over in turn 3. We've now got the chicane installed to really slow the speeds down a bit on the approach to turn 4. A lot of safety enhancements. There's been a lot of changes to the curving, so the drivers are still feeling their way around here. And a big factor today will be the weather. It's been raining throughout the course of this weekend. The grass is wet. If you fly off course, there will be an impact, and certainly there's still a threat of rain here before we see the checkered flag tonight.
Well, from the Subaru track map to the Subaru starting grid that you will see in the top of your screen, flashing across the top, let's take a look at the race analysis. We've already talked about it. two classes, Grand Sport and Street Tuner, back together.
And we have 45 cars on track, a total of 95 drivers. 2.5 hours is the race length. You have to do 30 minutes to score points here today.
And you talked about it, weather on the horizon as well. It's rained on and off all week long, or all weekend long, I should say. And I got to think it's the old gray and green rule. It's better on the gray than it is on the green. You get in the grass today, you're going for a ride.
You really are. It's really, you are out of control. You just need luck on your side if you're going to avoid disaster there. So the boys have to play well today.
Split start as usual for the Coney Sports Car Challenge. We'll see the Grand Sport classes line up in front, side by side. You see the Pontiac G8 pace car flash by, the cars lining up, and then about 10 to 15 seconds back, you'll see the Street Tuner class with their own pace car. Keeps the boys separated as they head down to turn one on the start, but I don't think they'll be separated for long, Cal.
No, they're going to be mixing in traffic all day long, and certainly strategy is always a key part to victory in the Coney Sports Car Challenge. And with the threat of cautions, I mean, it certainly keeps the team managers and the crew chiefs on their toes all day long.
Two different marks up front. Matt Bell in that bright yellow BMW for Turner Motorsports. It is the V6 BMW M3 alongside of him, Duncan Indy in that beautiful silver TRG Porsche. And then you've got a strong Mustang right behind, and Ryan Eversley in there as well in his BMW. Look at the drag race.
Ryan Eversley looks to the inside, and the Turner car takes the lead. Matt Bell, the pole sitter.
Grand Sport working their way through 1 and 2. As they work on through, here comes the Street Tuner class onto the front straightaway.
Carbonell on the inside in that blue Mazda. Can he get the jump on the field?
Honda outside, action in Grand Sport on the right, and plenty of action Street Tuner on the left. It looks like they're trying to make it 4 abreast. You see the Mini slide up as well.
Adam Burrows there having a tremendous start. It was 4 wide there down the front stretch. Unbelievable stuff.
Homestead Miami in the Street Tuner class. 5 different marks filled the top 5 at the end of the race. So a lot of diversity here amongst types of cars. You see the little Mazda MX-5, the hands of Andrew Carbonell from the point leading right now. But look at this traffic. Something you'd expect to see in New Jersey.
Look at Burrows, a top 5 qualifying slot all the way up to second, and immediately a car off. Looks like one of the Cobalts possibly.
138 of Gunter Schmidt. Drops the wheel a little bit. There's the 29. Remember what a great run, the 29 here with Bob Beatty last year. A great run. We head back up to the front where Matt Bell and that Turner Motorsports BMW continuing to lead. Right now it's BMW, Porsche, Mustang, BMW, Mustang. And Cal, 3 very different types of cars in the top 3. When you look through it, if this race stays dry, who do you think has the advantage?
Well, I think it's very even. I don't think the Mustang's expected to come here to a track where you have a lot of transitional turns with that big heavy car and be so competitive. I spoke to Hugh Plum, who's the teammate to Jack Roush, who's in that 3rd place red Mustang right now, and he said, I'm very surprised how quick we are. If we're quick here, we're going to be a threat for the championship, because if we can be quick here, we can be quick anywhere on this circuit.
You look at the 79 right there with Nick Janssen behind the wheel. Good to see him complete a lap, as well as Ryan Eversley in the 80, because those 2 brand new cars, those BMWs, the V8 powered BMWs, Kinetic debuted one.
Oh, that was wild. Jack Roush defending there. Eversley thought about a move to the inside. He uses all of the curb there to recover, and meanwhile,
Eversley sliding back.
Dean Martin there gets it down to the inside and takes that 4th spot away.
Up until this time, both on debut, the 79 and the 80. The 79 debuted at Daytona, the 80 debuted at Homestead. Neither one of them completed a lap. In fact, the 80 never started the race. Both cars destroyed. 2
massive crashes has really kept the Kinetic boys very busy back at the shop rebuilding those cars, and it has affected their track testing as well. So that V8 powered BMW has really not shown the strength that we expect to see yet, and I think before long they're really the sleeping giant in this series for 2009.
Matt Bell out in front runs the V6 BMW M3 for Turner Motorsports as you watch Ryan Eversley continue to hold on. And look at this, the Mini to the front, 198 with Adam Burrows, a former champion, has gotten past that little Mazda MX-5 to take over the point. They said, Cal, it's a real momentum car. They were worried about getting held up in traffic. If he gets out in front, maybe that's exactly what he needs.
Well, he said, if you're going to talk about me, do it earlier in this race, because he said, I expect to just get steamrolled down these straightaways here, but there are a lot of turns here at this New Jersey Motorsports Park, and certainly Burrows and Hopwood are a threat here today, leading in that Mini.
Carbonell, you can see how much lower the little MX-5 rides. It's going to punch a smaller hole in the air. The other thing that the Burrows and Hotwood team were worried about was front tire wear. Remember the mini front-wheel drive? They've got some good horsepower in it. They said these long-duration corners really wear on these Hoosier tires.
Yeah, well, you certainly have to manage the tires. I expect most of the front-wheel drive cars to take 2 tires at their pit stop if we stay green here and dry, certainly. But everyone will have a slightly different strategy depending on when those pit stops fall.
As usual, great action here in Coney Challenge. You see Ashley McCalmont in the 01, the Cobalt, doing battle as well. We'll be back to New Jersey Motorsports Park, round 3, the Coney Sports Car Challenge.